Charley Hull always seemed like the kind of person who would never break. Not on the course, not in the media, not in life. She had that kind of fearless swagger that made you think she was built different. No coach, no formal lessons, no sugar-coated media training. Just raw talent, a rebellious spirit, and a swing that came straight from the streets of Kettering. But here's the thing. Being unbreakable doesn't mean life won't test you. And in Charley's case, the test didn't come with a scoreboard. It came in waves, and for a while it nearly drowned her. Let's rewind. Before the trophies, before the headlines, before the viral photos of her casually puffing on a cigarette while signing autographs, she was just a girl with a golf club that was almost taller than she was. Born in a working-class English town most people couldn't point out on a map, Charley didn't grow up chasing golf dreams. She grew up in them. Her dad, Dave, put a tiny club in her hands when she was just 2. No grand plan, no elite coaching. Just a dad and his daughter out there hacking away at the local course. Kettering Golf Club wasn't exactly Augusta. It was modest, a little rough around the edges. Kind of like Charley herself. But she owned it. By age 9, she was beating grown men like it was nothing. And she did it all without a single formal lesson. That's what blew everyone away. Most of her peers were wrapped up in technical drills and swing coaches by the time they hit double digits. Charley, she was just out there playing, over and over. Reps, not rules. Intuition, not instruction. And it worked. She had this natural rhythm, like her body, and the club were speaking a secret language no coach could teach. Some called it reckless, others called it genius. But when she turned pro at 16, that freedom got put under the microscope. Could someone really make it on raw instinct alone? Spoiler alert, yes. She didn't ease into the professional scene. She charged in head first. 5 tournaments, 5 second-place finishes. Think about that. A teenage girl with no official swing coach, rolling up and nearly winning every event she entered. People didn't know what to make of her. It was like watching someone who skipped the whole learning phase and just decided to be great. Her rise felt effortless. Too effortless. She won her first pro tournament just before her 18th birthday. By the end of the season, she wasn't just good. She was the best on the entire Ladies European Tour. The youngest ever to top the Order of Merit. And the whole time, she kept that same loose, unbothered vibe. Laughing between shots, chatting with her caddy like they were at the pub, and hitting shots that made veterans scratch their heads. But here's the thing about rising fast. It sets the bar high. People expect you to keep climbing, to keep winning, and that's when cracks start to show. When you go from the underdog to the one everyone's gunning for. It was around the time she hit the LPGA Tour that things started to shift. America was a whole different beast. The courses were tougher, the competition was deeper, and the expectations were brutal. Everyone had swing teams, trainers, psychologists. Charley had, well, herself, and she stuck to that. She didn't move to Florida like most pros. She stayed in England. She didn't start overhauling her technique. She kept playing her game, but that game didn't translate right away. There were moments of brilliance, sure, but there were also stretches of inconsistency, missed cuts, media doubt, the kind of scrutiny that gets louder when you don't play by the rules. Then came 2021, the year everything sort of spiraled. Off the course, her marriage to MMA fighter AZ Smith collapsed. It didn't play out in headlines, but you could feel it in her game. That carefree confidence started to flicker. The press didn't say much. Golf media tends to be more polite than most. But behind closed doors, people were talking, wondering, was this the beginning of the end? Had the Rebel finally run out of magic? The stats weren't kind. Her performances dipped. The spark that once made her dangerous now looked more like unpredictability. Sponsors grew quieter, analysts got harsher, and while Charley never said much publicly, you could see it in her body language. Less laughter, more tension. The girl who once lit up fairways with pure instinct looked like she was thinking too much. But here's where it gets real. When most athletes hit that wall, they either crumble or conform. Charley did neither. She didn't hire a swing coach. She didn't issue a press release about re-evaluating her process. Instead, she went into beast mode. Quietly, without a camera in sight, she started waking up at 2:30 in the morning, not to hit balls, but to FaceTime her family. Keep her head straight. Then came the workouts. Grueling, punishing, relentless. 5Ks before dawn. Rowing, weight training, all self-imposed. No trainer barking orders, just Charley, grinding because she had something to prove. And that's the part people missed. They thought she was fading, but really, she was evolving, rebuilding, slowly, painfully, silently. It wasn't about swinging harder. It was about getting her mind back, her fire, that thing that made her dangerous in the first place. The comeback didn't happen overnight. For months, she was just another name on the leaderboard, sometimes high, sometimes low. But you could sense something shifting. The fearlessness started creeping back into her game. The laughs came back, so did the birdies, and then, boom, it all clicked. It was 2022 when Charley Hull finally reminded the world who she really was. The Volunteers of America Classic wasn't the biggest event on the calendar, but for her, it became a proving ground. The Charley Hull that stepped onto that course wasn't just a comeback story. She was a storm waiting to happen, and when she teed off, you could almost feel it in the air. This wasn't just another tournament. This was personal. She played with the kind of focus that shut the noise out completely. All the doubts, the commentary, the people who said she was done, they vanished the second she grabbed her driver. 4 rounds later, she had gone 18 under par. 18. Against a stacked field. Against the voices in her own head. Against every whisper that said she wasn't built for the American game. And when she sank the final putt, there wasn't some dramatic celebration. Just that signature calm, like she always knew it was coming. That win, it wasn't just a win, it was a message. See, what people don't understand is that golf isn't just about mechanics. It's not just about swing paths and launch angles. It's mental warfare. And Hull, she's built for war. That ADH diagnosis she shared with the world, most would see it as a limitation. She flipped it into her superpower. When she's locked in, she enters this hyper-focus zone where distractions melt away. While others overanalyze and second guess, she just pulls the club and hits. Instinct, confidence, flow. That's her game. But don't get it twisted. She's not out there on vibes alone. Behind the cool exterior is a competitor who grinds harder than most people realize. Those 2:30 a.m. wake-ups, still happening. Not because it's trendy, but because staying connected to home keeps her grounded. The workouts, still brutal. Rowing, running, lifting. It's all part of the armor she's rebuilt piece by piece. She's tougher now, more seasoned, and way more dangerous. And yet, for all the focus and structure she's added to her life, Hull has never lost what made her different in the first place, her authenticity. While other players obsess over brand deals, carefully manage their social media presence, and rehearse interviews to perfection, Charley just shows up. Cigarette in hand, hair in a bun, saying whatever's on her mind. And fans? They love her for it. Because she's real. Because she's the exact same person whether she's winning or losing. No mask, no filter. Take that viral moment at the US Women's Open, the one where she was caught signing autographs with a cigarette dangling from her mouth. For any other pro, that would have been a PR disaster. For Hull, it became iconic. She didn't apologize, didn't issue some scripted statement. She just laughed it off, because she doesn't pretend to be anything she's not. She's not here to be your role model. She's here to play golf. And ironically, That refusal to conform might be what's kept her sane through it all. The pressure to be perfect in today's sports world is insane. But Hull, she's immune to it. She's not chasing anyone else's version of success. She's not trying to be the next anything. She's just being Charley Hull, and that's more than enough. Now, let's talk about the LPGA, because if Europe was the stage where she built her legend, America became the battleground where she had to defend it. It wasn't easy. The travel, the course conditions, the relentless schedule, it all added up. And she didn't make it any easier on herself. While most players relocated to Florida or Arizona to train year-round in the sun, Hull stayed in England. Cold mornings, rain-soaked practice sessions, constant flights across the Atlantic. None of it ideal. But again, she wasn't chasing comfort. She was staying true to her roots. Analysts called it stubborn. Some said it was self-sabotage, but Hull never cared. She knew that being home, being near family, being herself, that's what kept her sharp. You can't put a price on peace of mind. And in a sport where mental clarity is everything, that choice might have saved her career. Still, the results didn't always come easy. Between her first LPGA win in 2016 and her next in 2022, it was a long gap. 6 years. That's enough time for an entire wave of new stars to rise up and steal headlines. And they did. Names like Nelly Korda, Jin Young Ko, Athaya Thitikul. They took over the spotlight. But through it all, Hull never faded completely. She'd pop up on leaderboards, flash that old magic, then disappear just as quickly. It wasn't inconsistency, it was evolution. Because behind the scenes, Hull was becoming something far more dangerous than just a one-hit wonder. She was becoming resilient, she was building mental armor, she was learning how to climb back without losing herself. And here's where the twist comes in. Most players, after that kind of slump, would change everything. New coach, new swing, new strategy. But not Hull. She doubled down on who she was. She didn't clean up her image. She didn't tone down her aggression. She didn't start pretending to be media friendly. She just kept showing up. Every week, every round, every shot, same fire, same grit. By 2023, she was back in the top 10 in the world. Not because she conformed, but because she refused to. And that's the lesson people keep missing. Charley Hull didn't fall apart because of the pressure. She didn't disappear because she got too comfortable. She hit a wall like everyone else does. But instead of breaking, she rebuilt. And that rebuild, it's why her next chapter might be her best yet. Because now, she's not just talented, she's tested. She's not just fearless, she's focused. The girl who once beat grown men at 9 years old now stands as one of the most intriguing, unpredictable, and authentic stars in all of golf. There's something poetic about the way Charley Hull plays golf. It's not robotic, it's not overly rehearsed. It's raw, emotional, and unpredictable, just like life. And maybe that's why so many people root for her. Because while most athletes try to separate the personal from the professional, Hull just blends it all together. When she's struggling off the course, you can sometimes see it in her game. But when she finds her rhythm, it's like watching someone dance between fairways with complete freedom. Her 2022 comeback wasn't just about one trophy. It marked the beginning of a different Hull. Still authentic, still wild at heart, but now more balanced, more aware of how to manage her emotions and structure her focus without losing her identity. That balance became her biggest advantage. Heading into 2023, the question was no longer, can Charley Hull still win? It was, how far can she really go? And suddenly, everyone, from sports analysts to fans to the very people who once doubted her, was paying attention again. She opened the season strong. Her performances were more consistent. Her shots, still aggressive, still fearless. But now there was patience. There was calculation behind the chaos. It was like watching a street artist who had finally learned to paint with both fire and control. That edge made her more dangerous than ever before. She started challenging again in majors, came close, too close. Her runner-up finishes in some of the biggest events proved she wasn't just a comeback story. She was in contention for the throne. Every leaderboard she cracked was another reminder that her career wasn't just surviving, it was evolving. But here's the real kicker. She still did it all her way, still based in England, still refusing to obsess over yardage books, still showing up to tournaments without the entourage or the layers of management most players surround themselves with. No swing coaches hovering over her shoulder, no robotic routines, just Charley walking up, taking the shot, letting her instincts do the talking. That instinctive play style, while thrilling, also came with risks. There were rounds where the magic wasn't there, days where the gamble didn't pay off. But for Hull, that's the price of authenticity. You take the highs with the lows, and when the lows hit, she never made excuses. She took the L, dusted herself off, and came back swinging. And people noticed. Sponsors that had once passed her by for safer, more polished faces were now circling back. Because in a world of branding, image, and carefully manufactured PR, Charley Hull stood out for one simple reason. She was real. And in professional sports, real is rare. There was a moment late in 2023 when a reporter asked her if she ever planned to get a new coach, maybe clean up her swing, or adopt a more consistent training plan. Hull just smiled and said, "Why would I fix what makes me different?" That single quote captured everything about her. She never wanted to fit into the system. She wanted to win outside of it. And that's what makes her story so powerful. Because this isn't just about golf. This is about identity, about refusing to let the world shape you into something you're not just to be accepted. Hull didn't fall apart because she was careless. She fell apart because she's human. She went through heartbreak. She felt the weight of expectation. She questioned herself. And then she came back. Not with a rebrand, not with a new image, but with more fire than ever before. That kind of resurgence doesn't just inspire golf fans. It inspires anyone who's ever doubted themselves. Anyone who's ever stumbled and wondered if they could get back up. Hull didn't need to change to succeed. She needed to embrace what made her different even harder. That's exactly what she did. Now, with multiple top finishes under her belt and a renewed hunger for a major title, Hull isn't chasing anyone. She's creating her own lane. Her coach, Matt Belsham, says it best. She's doing things on her own timeline, but make no mistake, she's coming. And you can feel it. The way she approaches tournaments, the confidence in her press conferences, the way the other players glance over when her name hits the board. She's no longer the wild card, she's a contender, and she's not done yet. Hull's commitment isn't just about trophies anymore, it's about legacy, about proving that you don't need to be the perfect product of a perfect system to rise to the top. You can be messy, you can be flawed, you can be honest, and still win. She's become a role model, whether she meant to or not, for girls who don't fit into the neat little boxes, for athletes who want to trust their instincts, for people who've been told they need to fix themselves before they can succeed. Hull's existence in the top tier of women's golf is a challenge to all of that. And her story isn't finished. She's still chasing that elusive major, still waking up early, still flying across continents to compete, still cracking jokes mid-round and giving zero thought to what people think of her public image, still lighting up leaderboards on pure gut and grit. Because for Charley Hull, the journey was never about fitting in. It was always about standing out. And maybe, just maybe, that's what makes her dangerous. Because when you've already lost it all, been written off, and stared down rock bottom, what's left to fear? Nothing. And that's what makes her game so powerful now. She swings without fear. She lives without apology. And she plays like she's got nothing to lose, even when everything's on the line. So if you're wondering how Charley Hull's career fell apart, it wasn't because she failed. It's because life tested her, and she passed with fire in her veins. And now, she's more than just a golfer. She's a reminder that in a world obsessed with perfection, being real might just be the greatest power of all.